Hello, good evening, and welcome to Prime Sports here on the Joy News channel with me, Oreko Ampo, for a very big day in the world of football, especially with the UEFA Champions League draw taking place. There's a lot of Ghanaian interest. We'll get to that shortly, but news coming in just a few minutes ago is that Black Stars assistant coach George Barton has left his role as manager of Aston Villa's under-23 side to concentrate on his role with the Ghana national team ahead of the 2022 World Cup. Barton was temporarily appointed as part of the Black Stars technical team ahead of the World Cup nation qualifier against Nigeria. Now, in a statement, he says that leaving Aston Villa after 3 wonderful seasons was not an easy decision, but having the opportunity to coach my country at the World Cup was too good to turn down. I've learned so much and I'm grateful for the time spent at this beautiful, amazing club. I want to thank the players, staff and the fans for their wonderful support, and I wish the club every success in the future. As for now, I will concentrate on my role as the assistant coach of Ghana ahead of the World Cup. We'll be bringing you more details on George Barton and what he plans to do in the interim and long term as well. But to the UEFA Champions League draw, where Bayern Munich have been drawn in Group C alongside Spanish La Liga side FC Barcelona, Inter Milan and Victoria Pilsen in the Champions League group stage. Our defending champions were handed a tricky draw as they were pitted against RB Leipzig, Shakhtar Donetsk and Celtic in Group F. That's for Real Madrid. And then Liverpool, who were finalists in the 2021-2022 season, will come up against Ajax, Napoli and Rangers in Group A. Matches will take place between September and 2nd November. Here are the 8 groups. So Group A is Liverpool, Ajax, Napoli and Rangers. We do have Mohamed Kudus there for Ajax in terms of the Ghanaian interest. For Group B is Atletico Madrid, Porto, Bayer Leverkusen and Club Brugge, which has Dennis Odoi and Kamal Soa for more Ghanaian interest. In Group C, FC Barcelona face Bayern Munich yet again, and this time they will be joined by Inter Milan and Victoria Pilsen. In Group D, we have Eintracht Frankfurt, who are the Europa League winners, up against Spurs, Sporting Lisbon with Fatao Isako of the Black Stars, and then Marseille completing Group D. Group E sees AC Milan return to the Champions League after a long layoff. They'll be alongside Chelsea, who won it 2 seasons ago, Salzburg and Dinamo Zagreb. Group F sees defending champions Real Madrid alongside Leipzig, Shakhtar Donetsk and Celtic. Man City would be at home, would be in a group against Sevilla, Dortmund and Copenhagen. And Group H, what some call the Angel Di Maria group, because he played for Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus and Benfica. And these 3 teams would be joined by Maccabi Haifa players who are already posting on social media that they would love to have the jerseys of Messi and Neymar when they face in the Champions League. So they are booking their jerseys early. We would see how that match goes and how the whole Champions League goes, especially for the Ghanaian players, because we're just 2.5 months away from the World Cup. Well, Ajax are in Group A alongside Liverpool, Napoli and Rangers, potentially what could be described as a group of death. Joining us from Netherlands is a good friend, Juan, who's the host of the popular Ajax podcast in Netherlands called We Talk Ajax. Now, Juan, do you think that the group that you find yourselves can be described as the group of death after the draw? Hi, Juan. Could you unmute? It looks like we cannot hear you.
Sorry, Oraku.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see it as a group of death. I'm sorry for that. The most important thing is we have tricky opponents, as you just described. And when it comes to Liverpool, I think, it can complete the circle for Kudus. Got injured 2 years ago. Now it's a chance again. He looks very sharp coming from the preseason. He gets not so many minutes yet, but who knows what's in store for him. We're hoping he gets his chance.
Well, we'll come back to Mohamed Kudus, but I want you to describe what the feeling has been like in Netherlands after the draw for Ajax.
Yes, it's a little bit mixed. People know that this is a very tough group. These opponents are are tricky opponents, all good opponents. They like to play football. And the strange thing about that is that Ajax performs better when they play opponents that can play football. We lack a little bit when we play against defensive teams like Atletico Madrid or maybe Spurs or these kind of teams. They have a little bit more a reserved way of playing. And these are usually the teams that we struggle mostly with. But if we play attacking teams, we can thrive.
And let's talk about Mohamed Kudus, because you mentioned before that Liverpool game 2 seasons ago when he got injured, he was on such a good run. And unfortunately, ever since then, he's not really got a good stretch of games under his belt at Ajax. First off, do you think by the time Liverpool play Ajax, Kudus would be an Ajax player?
Well, the thing that I can say is Kudus is showing a very good preseason. He's coming from a very good preseason, and he hasn't got a lot of minutes yet in the Ajax team, but you have been seeing a little bit more minutes given to him in recent weeks. And every time he comes in, he's showing something, and the coach is impressed. He even said that in the interview. There were some rumors about him leaving. I think the rumors are still, especially with Everton, but the coach really clearly stated that he doesn't want Kudus to leave.
But from a fan point of view and perspective, what do people think? Would they love to see Mohamed Kudus stay this season?
Very good question. I think the fan base is split on this one because he has been unlucky with his injury. We haven't seen the true potential of Kudus at Ajax in 2 years. So some people are questioning or being a little bit more careful whether he would, show his true potential. So some think like maybe another adventure would be better for him. But again, there are others like saying, no, he really is a gem. He has a lot of potential, and we want to see this we want to see him flourish basically at Ajax. And I'm one of those fans, basically. I want him to stay.
And just to wrap up with you, Mohamed Kudus, Ajax. Now let's look at the bigger picture. It's going to be a very different Champions League campaign this time around because of the World Cup in November, instead of the usual 12 weeks that's spent playing the group stage games that you find yourself in a very difficult group. All of these 6 games that you're going to play against these tough opponents would be in just 9 weeks. How difficult would that be considering the group that you find yourself?
Yeah, that's going to be tough for all the teams basically, especially for the lesser teams in the sense that, like for Rangers or for us, usually we don't have a lot of players on the bench, like Liverpool, for instance. But I think we covered that quite good. We have a couple of Dutch players playing for the national team, like Klaassen or Berghuis. They're even bench at the moment, and not mentioning Kudus. So we have quite some squad depth. So I think we can manage with this.
And lastly, what's the expectation? Do you think you can be able to get out of this group?
It's possible, but as well as I do, Champions League is all about fine margins. So we have to be sharp from the get-go. And it will be very interesting because we have a new coach, Alfred Schreuder, which team he chooses in 2 weeks' time, in less than 2 weeks' time, to start with, the first game. And it will be very good to see what he will have as his strongest side eventually, because he's still puzzling a little bit on that area.
All right, thank you very much, Juan. We hope that in that first game, Mohamed Kudus would be in the starting lineup. But let's